Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Well, today's episode, we're going to go to the eastern part of the Mediterranean, and we're going to do a dish called sambusek. Now, what I'm doing today is sort of a mashup yet again. It's a sfiha recipe, which is essentially an Arab pizza with meat on top, but I'm folding it over into a pie, which makes it a sambusek. So, it's a common recipe you'll find in southern parts of Syria, parts of Cyprus, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon. You get the picture. Anyways, let's check it out. Give you something warm to think about during a cold winter with all the nonsense around. Let's go. So today's recipe is sambusek, or a meat pie. So to make the dough, we're going to need 3 cups of flour, preferably bread if you have it, but all-purpose will do, followed by a teaspoon of yeast, and a teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to need our liquid ingredients. About 80 mils of olive oil. And then we're going to add some water to it. Roughly about a cup's worth. Make sure it's warm. Anyways, we're going to mix everything together. Make a nice dough out of it. And it sort of resembles a pizza dough. So put everything in a mixer, or if you're doing it by hand, do it by hand. But start off with this. And it looks like this near the end when it's ready. And then we're going to let it rest for about 2 hours at least. For the filling, about 12 ounces of beef or lamb, some roughly chopped up almonds, and we're going to toast up the almonds a bit because this releases the flavor and gives it a really nice crunch. You can use pinoles if you have too. A little bit of chili pepper, chop it up fine. Some boiled onion paste, or if you don't have that, an onion chopped up. We're going to fry it in oil until it gets golden. And then we're going to add our meat to it. There we go. We're going to fry it up until everything is good and brown. A typical spice blend for meat is chilies, allspice, black pepper, and cinnamon. You'll find this all over that region. So add them into the meat. This gives it a nice bit of heat, savoriness, all sorts of good flavors that come out. Afterwards, we're going to add those toasted almonds that we did earlier. Now this softens them up, but still retains their texture. So we're going to add those, followed by about a cup of pureed tomatoes. Once that's done, it starts off liquid like this, but we want it to dry out to look like this when we're ready to fill our pie. While the meat filling is cooling off, we're going to flour a surface and roll out our dough. So we're going to start putting it down, put a little bit of flour on the top, and we're going to roll it from the center out to the edges. Then you turn it, and you roll it from the center, just like making a pie. Now, we're going to go until we get a nice uniform thin sheet that sort of looks like this. Now at this point, you could just put the meat filling on top and bake it like a pizza, and you have a sfiha. But we're going to roll it over on itself to make a sambusek. So first, we're going to cut out a shape, a little round like this, until we get a whole bunch. And after that, we're going to put our cooled filling in the center, fold it over until we get a bunch of pies. Then we let it proof for about 10 to 15 minutes while we preheat our oven to 450. Now it's important to let it proof. You cover it with a damp towel or plastic. It gives the yeast a chance to do its work. And after 15 minutes at 450, you'll get these golden little pies filled with meat, nuts, and all sorts of good spices. It's a wonderful way to have a little lunch. I prep mine with a bit of a salad, a piece of cheese, but you can have it with a soup as well. It's just good Middle Eastern comfort food. Crunchy, goodness, good. Share, like, and subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.